Do not say I didn't warn you, because Bitcoin is relatively overbought. We created all-time highs, we pushed all the way up to 112,000, but at the end of the day, you have to keep into consideration that we have been in a consistent uptrend and an aggressive uptrend at that since about April 7th. So we're going on almost 2 straight months of only uptrend, which in my mind already triggers that things are overbought. Now, even when I zoom in, I can see on the daily we're going into a bearish crossover based on the EPIQ trading strategy. We're testing LRC resistance. So this is a bearish setup, and anything that's up here in price action was a high probability fake out zone. And if you zoom out and go look at the previous all-time highs, we're creating higher highs in price action, but creating lower highs on volume. And at the same time, we're creating higher highs on momentum. What that tells me is that volume is leaving and momentum is extremely overbought in comparison to the previous test. And just focusing on price action in the last couple months, this looks eerily similar to what we saw previously back in October and November, where we saw a nice little impulse move. We saw the bearish crossover. We saw the LRC resistance a couple times. Price starts to distribute, and then we get a nice retracement down from 110,000 all the way to 74,000. As you can see, looking pretty damn close to that. What we're waiting for now is to see if this wants to start to distribute. And if we start to see a distribution, a really good sign that we could see a retracement coming into the near future would be if altcoins started to pump, which would be showing that money is outflowing from Bitcoin from a distribution into the altcoins. Now, there's a few different Fibonacci levels to watch. The first one is going to be this little short-term Fibonacci. And then if this one falls out, you can just continue to move this down to the lower lows until you find that support level. If we pull down, but mind you, it's very common when you see a 3 to 10% push to the all-time high to see some sort of weakness at that top, like a bull trap, and then a retracement. And you can see that we pushed up about 3% from the all-time high in comparison to what we had tested back in January of 2025. And to use a couple other charts, for example, if you go to Solana, you can go back to 2021. You can see that the all-time high was give or take at about the $260 range. And then in January of 2025, we ended up taking about a 15% push to the top side and then swinging from $300 all the way down to about $94. It's also very similar to what we saw with XRP. You have the 2017 all-time high that was sitting at $3.27 around that range. You ended up breaking the all-time high, going up about 3.5% to create a new all-time high at $3.41, just for this to be a bull trap and then swing back down to about $1.60. But don't forget, these retracements are extremely bullish. So if you want to stay up to date with potential support levels, as well as finding take profit points and just tracking my trades overall, go check out the EPIQ Trading Floor. It is completely free to sign up, and you can download it on iOS and Android as well. Just type in EPIQ Trading Floor in the App Store. Or you can go to the link in my bio. It should say stand.store/EPIQ Trading Floor. And then you'll see the website, you'll see the iOS download link, and then you'll see the Android download link to make it even easier.